Hey, good afternoon, everyone. This is your senatorial candidate for the United States Senate of 2022, representing North Dakota, Michael J. Steele. I'm not, like the rest of your candidates, I'm not speaking from a script or a teleprompter. What you get is what you see. I've been just kind of listening and watching the Cohen hearings. I'm going to give you a quick synopsis of my take. If you ever watch Well, I'm going to tell you what, go out and get the movie The Devil's Advocate, and you'll understand the whole Cohen and Trump relationship. Cohen was working for Trump for 10 years, and most of Trump's closest cabinet members, anybody that's ever worked for Trump, has gone to prison, got fired, has gotten murdered, disappeared. It's just like the movie The Devil's Advocate. He likes you, he takes you in, he loves you, and then he's really the devil. And then by partnering up with the devil, the liar of all lies, you wind up dying or living a tragic life, and it's kind of what I see with poor Cohen, but he's trying to redeem himself. Okay, we watched that, but here's what I'm trying to tell y'all. What I'm going to do. I'm part of the 2022 Michael J. Steele for Senate cleaning crew, meaning we're going to clean up Congress. We're going to clean up the Senate. There's going to be no more scandals. We're gonna start paying attention to any corporate scandals, any political scandals. We're going to just clean up Washington. We're not going to take no more. And we're going to get in there. And me and the Democrats are making plans right now to really just clean up the House. We're going to bring dignity back to Congress, back to the Oval Office. We're also going to stop this collusion with the Russians, and these treasonous acts by our president, who's partnering up with the North Koreans and everybody that's been on our watch list for many years. But maybe Trump. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna play the devil's advocate. Maybe it'll be a wonderful world, and we will get peace out of this. Wouldn't that be great? And there is one thing that I like about Trump. I'm a Democrat. He does want to bring prayer back in school. And I believe that bringing back prayer in school is a great thing. 1963, they did take prayers out of school, and I believe when they took prayer out of school, the gang violence went up in the country. Now we got all these killings, Columbine, and many, many more killings. And I believe that when you believe in something together, as such as church or God or Christ, you'll learn how to love your neighbor like yourself, and believing in God and Jesus and the good values that we learn by going to church or reading the scriptures helps us become better citizens. And I don't see anything wrong with that. And you could be praying to any religion. Just I think we should have in our schools a 10-minute timeout to pray to any of our religions, even if we want 10 minutes for any of the reverends to come in and the pastors or the imams to come with their students for 10 minutes. They could leave the class and they could go pray for 10 minutes out of the day, or maybe even a half an hour, like take the recess time and make that prayer time, which I think would be a good thing to bring values back in this country, And I think we got some guests here. Welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by our community guidelines. Okay, great. Someone might be joining me here, which is wonderful. I got so many things I want to talk about. Now here I'm on camera and I'm just so swamped at what I want to tell you and share with you about what I've seen going on in the country in the last few months that I been busy campaigning. You know, this wall is. I'm not pro-wall because, you know, Hitler built a lot of walls in Nazi Germany, and look what happened when he built walls. He built walls for concentration camps, you know, and look what happened to all the Jewish population. And you know, it's a hate mechanism to unify a country, and he used hate to unify Germany towards a common goal, and that was to hate the Jewish people. Now, Trump is using a common denominator to hate the Muslims, and that's what he's doing right now. And he's bringing the country together, trying to have a common core unification of hatred towards, well, multiple groups, not just the Muslims, but the handicapped, the media, people that wear glasses. Just anybody, women. He just picks on everybody with his locker room talk, as he calls it. You know, this man is just a disgrace. He's a whoremonger. He's had all these affairs that he's had to pay these women off. I mean, there's been multiple abortions. The new one is now he's had 12 abortions that he's had to pay off, and the thing that's going around now, there's up to 23 abortions, but there's 12 that are pretty much have been validated. So, but I mean, this guy's, I mean, he's not thinking with his big head; he's thinking with his little head, his penis, and we can't have a leader thinking with his penis. You know, You know, they say, well, we need a leader with vitality in that. Well, he could think with his penis all day. You know, Nero thought with his penis too, and look what happened to him. He declared war on the sea. He was going to fight the ocean, you know. And that goes back to Bush's war on terrorism, which, you know, the lunch lady in school terrorized me, you know, because she had a mustache and she was very scary. And, you know, how are you going to get rid of things that terrorize people? Scary movies terrorize me. You'd have to get rid of every horror movie in the world, in the country, if you want to get rid of true terrorism, things that terrorize you. You know, I have friends that cockroaches and spiders actually terrorize them. They will run out of a room. Some people are afraid of poodles. I have a 6'8" friend that runs from teeny tiny poodles because they terrorize him, you know. So all these fear factors that are going on right now, we have to stop the fear and unify the country and bring everybody together to make America green again, make it smart again, make America love each other again, make America believe again, you know, make America fair again, make America equal again, you know. And there's an unfair thing going on in this country where these corporate raiders destroy these corporations, and they steal from all the stockholders and everybody, like these Bernie Madoffs and everything, and Enron and all these. I mean, there's just a huge list of these Ponzi schemes where all these poor people that have worked their whole lives donate in, and they wind up with nothing, and then these corporate CEOs wind up with, you know, these golden parachutes with $23 million, $90 million. You know, they're awarding bad behavior with huge bonuses. Some of these bonuses amount in billions of dollars. Now, I don't think that's fair at all. You know, we used to have antitrust acts where you would go to prison for un-American activity, you know, and treason. I mean, there's laws on the books right now where we could prosecute politicians, presidents, corporations, you know. You know, in the 20s and 30s, corporations paid 84% tax to support our country. Now they pay nothing. The largest contributor of employeeship and the richest man in the world and the richest, Amazon, Jeff Bezos, paid zero taxes this year. Zero. he didn't have to pay any tax. So, I mean, that's not helping us at all, Obama, everybody has a lot of bad things to say about Obama. Obama was great. We have health care. There's some wonderful things he did. He kept peace for years. We had the one terrorist attack. We had them two brothers that the Boston bombings that they did. And that's about all we had for terrorist attacks, And I was going to go somewhere else here. Look, just give me a minute to think here. I had a really great point to make, and I have to really think hard now. Okay, we were talking about terrorism, that, the lunch lady terrorizes me. We're thinking about the economy. And the one thing, here it is, Obama did that was smart. He raised the ceiling on the Social Security tax. Social Security, you make so much money after you make, I think, $190,000, $200,000, whatever the ceiling is, you don't pay any more Social Security tax on that money. Well, if we raised it to like $2 million or $1 million, even $1 million, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid would be covered for another 100 years. But the rich don't want to do that. They don't want to pay more on their Social Security. They don't want to raise that tax. I don't know why. We could raise it up to $1 million where you have to pay Social Security tax on up to $1 million. That would solve a lot of our financial problems. That would stop a lot of these people that are hoarders, these billionaires, and multimillionaires that are hoarding, and they say, well, they create the jobs. And that's why they get these men. Well, they create the jobs, but then again, they create indentured slavery too. There's people, when these billionaires, millionaires ship jobs overseas, they got these people working for a quarter, 50 cents an hour in these developing countries where they can't even afford to buy the shoes they're making overseas. And I'm not going to name names, but there's many of your big corporations that have been doing this for years. And the sad part is people in America have been losing their jobs for the last 40 years since Reagan got rid of the unions and destroyed the country. Everybody loves Reagan so much, but he gave the biggest transfer of wealth from the middle class to the rich in the United States history, other than what Bush and Trump are doing right now. But here's the deal. You got people in this country can't afford to buy the same shoes that they're making overseas. Only the rich people can afford to buy these $200 shoes, and the entertainers, but the entertainers lately are doing more than anybody. Keanu Reeves has got a cancer society now, and he's donating money to cancer hospital. Many of your Hollywood celebrities are doing a lot of giving their own money right now to help the country, because they know it's in bad shape. I'm calling this a call to war right now. Everybody out there, all you Democrats nationwide, I'm running for United States Senate of North Dakota, but I need your money nationwide and all over the world. You can donate to my campaign. You just go to Michael J. Steele for Senate 2022. I've got many options for you to donate to my campaign, and I need to start now because I'm part of the blue cleaning crew that's coming to you in 2022. I am part of the cleaning crew. We are going to clean up Washington. We're starting now. We're not messing around. Look at me. I'm telling you the truth. This ain't from a script. We're going to start cleaning house. We're cleaning up. We're getting rid of everybody that's derelict of duty. They're gone. We're doing our job. We're going to get up early in the morning. We're going to work late at night, and we're going to burn some midnight oil, and we're going to roll up our sleeves, and we're going to go, and we're going to pay attention to every penny, line by line, precept upon precept, and find out where our money's being spent. And we're going to get rid of duplicity in government, and we're going to give the American taxpayer a look into where their money's being spent. And if their money's not spent wisely, guess what? We're going to return it back to the taxpayer. They're going to get bigger tax refunds than they did this year. This year, Trump's administration gave the worst tax return in the United States history. since we've had a taxable nation. This is the worst year ever, unless you're Jeff Bezos and you're the richest company in the world, Amazon, you only had to pay zero taxes. Amazon, for a poor person, it saves you a lot of money, but I could see if you're a small business owner and a merchant, it's hurting small business owners and merchants. Some of these companies got people selling stuff so darn cheap that they're devaluing the market of antiques and collectibles and art. It's just a lot of this stuff could be stolen, and that's another thing we're going to look into on eBay. We're going to just monitor and work with eBay. We're going to also work with Amazon, eBay, and we're going to look into see how much of this stuff is stolen and how many 5-year-old kids are actually selling their mom and dad's antiques and their grandma and grandpa's antiques on there for nothing because they're devaluing this market right now, and they're hurting the antique dealers that are trying to make an honest living on selling their antiques and their art. Art is depreciating, and I don't like that. When we got a strong middle class, we got a very good art. Art has value, but now we know that our art is declining because our middle class is declining right now. And that's because there's factors that the rich are just living high on the hog right now, and they're all passing the buck and they're helping each other out right now. And then Trump wants to build this wall because he's probably going to profit on the material that's going to go into this wall, or his friends that he's made promises to. Trump's got a deal right now where he's selling a multi-billion-dollar deal to the Russians to sell asbestos in Russia, which is going to go to all the Russians' hotels and his Trump apartment buildings and hotels in Russia. And he got the head of the EPA in America to legalize asbestos. What do you think of that? So let's just kill off all the Russians and insulate everything with Trump's asbestos company. And they even got Trump's picture. I've seen the pictures of the asbestos that he's selling by the shiploads and sending them to Russia to insulate these hotels, the big asbestos deal. Trump's going to make multi-millions, maybe even billions off of that deal, off asbestos, maybe it'll get rid of some of the Russians, he figures, or he'll get rich too, and they'll get richer they think by killing more of us off, they're going to get richer, is what they think, I mean, it's just ridiculous, and you're not supposed to use the Oval Office POTUS to make any money. You're not supposed to use. That's treason in and of itself to use the Oval Office to make money, which Trump's been doing over and over again. There's more to talk about. Trump has hurt North Dakota. He cost us $4 billion by putting this 25% tariff on our farmers in North Dakota, where our soybeans and sugar beets are just laying in piles and rotting right now. That's one thing that I'm going to do is reach out to our farmers to get deals. Right now, Brazil is getting all of our sugar beets, and they're getting, Brazil's buying everything China's buying everything from Brazil right now, and they've dumped North Dakota thanks to El Humpto Dumpto Trumpty, and that's not fair to our farmers. There's things that he's going to be stealing money from other projects, he said, and by usurping the Constitution to build his wall. We don't need a wall. This is a call to war, call to arms. I'm an American citizen. I live in the home of the free, land of the brave. We have a National Guard. We have a military. We have multiple wings of law enforcement that are here to protect our country. That stupid ass wall, people are climbing over it, tunneling under it. The drug dealers right now are flying drones. These expensive $5,000-$10,000 drones, they're flying cocaine, heroin, hash, whatever you want, marijuana. They're flying it right over his wall, laughing over parts of this wall that's been built, and they're flying over with drones and landing them over on the other side of the wall. And the sad thing is, when 9/11 towers went down and these planes crashed in the wall, into the buildings, if they flew right over walls. If that wall was built, it's not going to stop from drones and planes, and most of our The drugs are coming in from ports of entry, airports, ships. This wall is a bunch of crap, and people know it. It's a big joke, and people are anybody with an 8th grade education knows this wall is bullshit. And we gotta get rid of stupidity, and we gotta get rid of this wall. Is like Mr. Ronald Reagan said, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall. And what is this Trump doing? He wants to build a damn wall. This wall is like a bridge to nowhere. Remember this bridge to nowhere? I watched a documentary. These people, actually documentary people, went and drove on the road to the bridge to nowhere. And guess where the bridge went? To nowhere. It went, and there was a little toll booth there. And there was a little old lady working in the toll booth at the end of the bridge that had a job there till she died. She was making about $80,000 a year because she was some political pundit's friend, and they got her a big perk, a political perk cherry job, somebody's grandma or mom, and she just sat in there and played cards and solitaire, listened to the radio for 8 hours a day, and made 80 grand a year, taxpayers' money, just to sit at this bridge to nowhere. I guess it helped her out, but it didn't help nobody else out, I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Whatever happened to the fleecing of America, $30,000 hammers, a lady getting 80 grand now to set in a wall, or this bridge to nowhere, this wall. I mean, come on, people, wake up. This is just a waste. And then they wonder why we don't have no money. It's just a waste. The whole is greater than its individual parts. Always remember that. And when we work together as a cleaning crew, you got to join my cleaning crew, the Michael J. Steele. Vote blue in 2022 to join the cleaning crew. You know whose cleaning crew it is? The Michael J. Steele cleaning crew. Vote blue in 2022 because we're coming at you, North Dakota. We're coming at you, United States Senate. I'm going to get in and I'm going to work with Chuck Schumer. I'm going to work with all these people I've been watching for years. Me and my dad sat before he passed away. I'm still watching all these people. I'm going to work with these people. And me and the Democrats are going to set the record straight. We're going to clean house, and we're going to continue. Well, we're in the House right now. We're going to clean the House. We're doing it. We might even impeach as president, if we get some, we get enough dirt on him. We're getting enough dirt. But, it makes us look embarrassing to the rest of the world to impeach a sitting president. It is embarrassing, but look what happened to Nixon, And I think this whole Trump whole administration is 20 times worse than Watergate, Nixon looks like a Boy Scout compared to this Trump administration, If you people out there with an 8th grade education are listening, I don't know anybody, the Trump pansies with their 3rd grade educations, no offense against 3rd graders. It's just these Trump pansies are, I don't know what they're doing. These guys, I've sat and I've heard these idiots saying that they would go out and take a bullet for Trump. They would kill for Trump. I've been to their rallies. I've secretly went into their rallies in disguise. And these guys are psychotic. These Trump supporters are saying they'd kill for Trump. I mean, there's 37% of the country are lunatics, and that's what these Trump supporters are. And I don't even give a shit if I get their votes. I don't want them. They're haters. They're whoremongers. Trump's a whoremonger. He's an abortionist. Then he says he's this great Christian. Christians aren't whoremongers. The Christians I know, they're not abortionists. The moral majority. Whatever happened to the Newt Gingrich moral majority? Whatever happened? Oh, Newt Gingrich got caught in a scandal. Whatever happened to Larry Craig? If he'd have just quit stalling around. Larry Craig, that guy, hanging out at the airport stalls. That's the Republicans got to quit stalling around. They'll never learn their lesson. It's why do you think we had the galactic blue wave take over the House? Pretty soon it's going to be the same. We're going to take everything. The 2022 cleaning crew going to turn it blue. That's what we're doing. I've already got my blue on. Look at this. I'm wearing my blue. I'm ready to roll. Come roll with me, baby. That's Michael J. Steele. This is not a transcript. This is not a recording. I'm Michael J. Steele, and I wrote this material, and it's coming from my mind. I'm just trying to have a good time. But this poor guy Cohen, I sat and I watched the whole court testimony of him, and it's like I say, I like to reiterate this, that go watch the movie The Devil's Advocate, and he was the devil's advocate, and Trump is the devil. It's a darn shame, you know. And then you got this Venezuela situation going on right now where there's U.S. troops ready to go in Venezuela. It's because they're not going to sell us any gas, or their oil, their oil. Venezuela doesn't want to sell the United States its oil, and then now you got Russia and China there right now saying if we go in there and invade them, they're going to attack us. You know, and they got this leader in there we don't like because he don't want to deal with us. He don't want to sell us this oil, you know. I don't know what his name is, Mato, I can't remember. But, you know, we don't really need Russia and China right here on our continent in Venezuela, this close to us, telling us what to do on the American shores and the American continent. You know, it's... we better have some superb technology because the Chinese outnumber us like 1.4 billion people. You know, the Russians I'm not worried about them. What do they got? 56 million Russians. There's 320 million Americans. We got NATO. Then Trump's screwing up NATO with us. He's pissed NATO off, our NATO allies. We need NATO right now. We need to get in with NATO and tell them. We got Russia and China, but if we got NATO, we don't have to worry. Unify together to fight this power. Then we don't have to worry about China or Russia as long as we've got NATO with us on our side. We can unify, and we can start telling them what to do and start telling them, hey, we do want fair trade, you know. But you can't, Mr. Trump, you can't go out and dump 25% tariff on China, because you got to look at the repercussions of who it's going to hurt. You could have told China, let's make a deal. We'll do the 25% in increments. Within 20 years, it'll be up to 25%. By then, you know, inflation and taxes and everything, it'd be fair. But no, you did it right away, 25%. You could have did it in increments, like 1-2% here and there, you know. You know, you do it methodically. You don't just go out and say, oh, I'm going to dump 25% off and then piss the Chinese off, you know. We don't really want China mad at us because they are our biggest trading partner right now. They've got #1 trade status, and they're making everything for us. They're making all of our missiles. They're making our nukes. They've got rockets that have gone to the moon. They're doing everything. China, we don't want to upset them. Then again, we don't want to piss off our NATO allies. Another thing, we got Trump pissed off our green. I had friends of mine in North Dakota went to France, and Trump pulls out of the French green accord. You know, so we had all these people ready to go green and get this green movement going on, and then Trump killed that. All these deals with the green accord to help the planet and everything, and he destroys that. Another thing in North Dakota, we got Native Americans right here that haven't been allowed to vote. We got students that are going to be contributing to our economy in North Dakota for 4 to 10 years of their life living here, paying tuition to North Dakota, paying for college, paying taxes, eating, wearing clothes, spending money, going to our nightclubs, restaurants, doing everything all college students do, buying books. And they weren't allowed to vote because they didn't have a permanent address and ID, according to this Al Jaeger, this Secretary of State dingling we used to have here. I think they might have got rid of this guy, or they're gonna pretty soon. I think they got rid of him. But, you know, that's why I want to get into the federal system where we can have some oversight on this state of North Dakota, too. It has its share of problems here, and corruption, too. Let me tell you about it, you know. Let's make it fair for everybody. I want to have there's people here that are getting crapped on that leave the state. It shouldn't be that way. When you come to North Dakota, You shouldn't have to leave the state. You come here for opportunity and employment with your family. You should be able to get a good job, a good pay, and retirement. There is no more retirement. When I came here, my dad came here with the promise of retirement. Well, he had promises where, he worked, there was free health insurance, and there was retirement programs. There was all this stuff. Now you got maybe 10% of the companies in North Dakota offer retirement, unless you work for, government, which is state or local city government, or federal. Then you might get a retirement if you stay there for 20 years or work for a bureau. But there's all these other industries in North Dakota where these people don't even think of a retirement. They don't have money to save. The cost of living is too much. The rents have gone up, and then we got this big legacy fund and all this oil thing where we've been putting away this oil money where we can't touch it for 50 years. It's for our children and grandchildren. Like I've said before, my son in 50 years will be 75 years old. And I don't even know if he's going to have grandchildren, but if he does, that money will probably be stolen by the legislatures here and all their kids will probably get it. But I'll be dead. I won't see it. My son will be 75 years old if he's alive. So they should just tap into this legacy fund, these billions of dollars, and take care of North Dakota's problems right now, like this $4 billion that Trump cost us on agricultural losses from the China leaving North Dakota deal and going to Brazil. See, China went to Brazil and bought all their agricultural goods from Brazil. And because the tariff, they didn't want to pay this 25% tariff. They just basically gave Trump the finger and said, well, we'll go somewhere else. But the sad part is Brazil doesn't have enough agricultural economy to support 1.4 billion Chinese. But North Dakota, we're a big ag state. We had a lot of soybeans in that. We were really doing good for China, and we heard them, but now Trump just said last week he dumped this, he got rid of this tariff. Well, we'll see if the damage has already been done. He closed the government. There's estimates of 16 to $20 billion worth of damage at closing the government, and that was just more damage he's done. Then he's got this Russian collusion. I mean, we need people that want to work and go to work, that don't want to get on the news every day. Trump's been rallying for, every day he's on the news rallying for his next election, and he's got elected as president, and he's been on TV rallying for all these other candidates. I've seen him it's insane, just going on there day after day on the news, doing these little stomps for all these people. Who's running the country? How does he have time to be president? When he's rallying for all his friends to get him elected. It doesn't make sense. It defies all logic. Somebody's got to be running the country, and he's not. He's sure not running the country, he's just trying to destroy the country, but we got the House now, so the Democrats are going to really pay attention. We control the purse strings, so we could stop some of the insanity right now. And, my vision is to get in there with my cleaning crew and just in 2022 and just clean house, North Dakota. That's first. Get rid of all these judges that are basically ruling from the bench, these activist judges that don't want to rule by law. They just want to rule by whatever they want to do, with all their bias and everything. I've seen so many biased judges in North Dakota. It's just ridiculous. They do not rule by law in North Dakota. It's not what you know in this state, it's who you know, and that's not right. Merit is what I went to college for. Before I went to college, well, you can't advance in life unless you get a good college education. You need to have some merit. So I went to college, got an education to get merit, And when I got educated, now I see that there's more people that aren't running their life with merit. It's just kind of who you know, not what you know in this state. And I think that's got to stop. I think we need to have more fairness, more equality. We have some good young Democrats, in our whole state legislature. I believe there's about 22 in our House and Senate here, and that's it. And the whole legislature of North Dakota, the Republican Party owns the two Senate seats right now in the Fed, U.S. Federal Senate, and then United States House of Rep is a Republican. And that's going to stop when I become elected in 2022, when I become your next United States Senator of North Dakota. With my cleaning crew, we're going to clean up Congress. That's what my mission is. We're going to clean up, we're going to clean up the real swamp, as they say. But we're going to, instead of spending $4 billion on building a wall, I would rather spend it on infrastructure. Chicago schools, Chicago could use $4 billion right now to get their kids some heat in the schools. I guess the heating systems are, there's no money. The heating systems, the furnaces are collapsing. There's people that need heat in schools. The children have no heat. There's no school books. There's no school lunches. I mean, what is this? Look at Michigan. It's like a nuclear bomb hit Michigan. The country needs infrastructural help. We don't need a wall. It's, like the old saying is you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig, So that's like, come on, it's putting a Band-Aid on a Titanic when you build a damn wall. We don't need a wall. We need a wall like I need a new belly button, okay, people? So I hope those of you out there in the Cyberland support Michael J. Steele for Senate. You can donate at Michael J. Steele for Senate 2022, Act Blue. I got many sources that you can donate to my campaign if you like what I'm saying. You want me to represent you in the United States Senate and also represent North Dakota. I was born to represent North Dakota. I was born I've been a politician since I was 2 years old, but I've worked hard labor. If you want to know something, I've worked the hardest jobs you could ever work. I was an auto mechanic. I got to go to work. I worked when my kids were little. I supported a family. I bought a house. I worked 6 12-hour days. That's 72 hours a week. To support a family. I managed a service station. I worked on cars all day. And I dealt with drunken, hungover auto mechanics. And I got tools thrown at my head, just slung at me all day. And worst thing in the world is a hungover mechanic having a fight with his girlfriend or his wife that shows up for work and has to get dripped on by snow and oil and grease and gets muffler burns and oil and grease in their eyes. And then you got to deal with them when they got a headache and a hangover. And then they got to fix somebody's problems like their cars all day long. I did that for 20 years of my life. I worked on cars. So I mean, you talk about being a rough rider. I was a rough rider here in North Dakota right now. And, I'm still a rough rider. I've been here 40 years. I come from Kansas City when I was 9 years old because my dad's work brought me here and I was forced to come here, taken away from my family, who I'm in touch with now. Thank the Lord. We're all getting along very well, and I love them and they love me. And I go to church every Sunday. I belong to a congregation here in Fargo. I'm a pro-life Democrat. And the reason I'm pro-life is I know there's many educational opportunities for ladies that are single that have children. I know there's also the abortion alternative, and but I'm not pro-abortion. I'm pro-adoption because there is the adoption alternative, which saves lives. And also, there's a lot of groups for women. There's the YWCA, There's Cass County Social Service. There's social service organizations that help women to raise their children. There's many churches that'll help you raise your children. Anybody that loves God and loves children will help you raise your child. So. And you don't have to feel ashamed if you're a single mother with a child trying to raise it in this world, because people are out there that will help you raise that child. And, but I also understand the argument that is that the does the government have the right to decide for a woman what she wants to do with her body and what her and her doctor decide? I understand that argument too, and the question that always made it hard for me to decide in this decision is if who dies if you were a doctor though and you had to make a decision. Well, I could save the mother and kill the child, or I could save the child and the mother dies. What would you do in that situation? That is kind of playing God. And that's just something I'm glad I never had to make that decision in life. And that's really, I'm just so happy I never had to make that decision. I've just been pro-life, but I also see the other side of the argument. Is it government's responsibility to tell a doctor and and a woman and her doctor what to do with her body? And sometimes I think, if a woman has to have an abortion for health reasons and she can live with herself and live with that decision, then that's her decision. That's not mine. But I would encourage women that if they're healthy and they can have that child, to have that child, because I live in America and we love children and we want to protect children, and this is God's world and God's country. We do everything to protect children. It's in the scripture, There's so many scriptures about protecting the Lord's children, and I'm going to work in Congress to protect the children. And that's another thing, I want to make it harder on pedophiles. If they harm children, where I'm going to strengthen the laws to make it harder on a pedophile to harm another child, where they're going to do harder, stricter penalties. And if they harm any more children, well, right now the judges are castrating some pedophiles, which is good. So, but they might get locked up indefinitely, and if I become senator, it depends on the circumstances. And there's an argument. Well, he was 19, she was 17. Well, I can see that that's not really a severe pedophilia penalty there, or he was 18 and she was 16, and then they wind up getting married later, but now he's got a stigma that he's a lifetime pedophile. Something like that, we would have to examine that and re-examine those issues, when the age is that close. But when you're saying, he was 18 and she was 15 or 16, maybe 14, then we got a pedophile there, But I've talked to women that were 15, the first sexual encounter they had with a 35-year-old man. It's like, what? These men should all be in prison. They're pedophiles. Don't you realize it? And none of these women think of that because it was their first love. And it's like, no, these men to this day should be turned in for, they're pedophiles, It just doesn't make any sense, why they don't see them as pedophiles, because they're no longer virgins, and they just don't see it. But I see that they're pedophiles. And but anyway, I'm going to make stricter laws for pedophiles. And that's one thing that I promise when I am a United States Senator. We're going to have a lot of bills for pedophiles, and you better watch out. And if you're a pedophile, you're going to truly learn your lesson, and you're not going to be a pedophile in this country. And another thing is we're going to have a rapid response team for women that are in harm's way, that need to get out. We're going to have an agency. I'm going to create a whole other agency. George Bush created the Homeland Security. Well, I'm going to try to get a bill passed. We're going to have a rapid response team to go out and help women that are trapped in a abusive relationship, or maybe stranded in the middle of nowhere, trying to get out of a relationship, from abused and battered women. That's some legislation I've already proposed and I've already been working on, where there's going to be an agency that'll be a rapid response team, because I know our law enforcement, sometimes people don't, these victims don't want to go to law enforcement. They're afraid of these people that have harmed them. Some of them have Stockholm syndrome. They just want to get away from them. We'll have a rapid response team to come out, get these abused and battered women, and get them out of these bad situations, and get them to safety, and get them jobs and housing, and just get them protection, and prosecute these people that have harmed them. There's going to be stricter penalties for abusers, and also for animal abusers. There's got to be stronger laws for these people that are torturing. Every day I'm on Facebook, I see these news clips of these people torturing animals, not getting in any trouble. I see these people, these school teachers, these policemen abusing children, and they're not getting in any trouble. They're getting off. They're beating these raps. What's going on with these judges? Why they're not doing anything? These judges, I wonder sometimes if they're pedophiles, why they're letting all these pedophiles get off the rap, or light sentences and everything. For harming animals. There was a midget that went out, and he went around and he was raping all these women. He was strong enough to rape women, but the lady judge felt sorry for him and wouldn't put him in prison or jail. She let him go because she was afraid that he was going to get beat up or become a victim in jail. So she freed him on probation, 4 years probation. The little midget went around and he raped like 20 women. He was strong enough to rape 20 women, but she decided, this judge, to let him off the hook and just put him on 4 years supervised probation, because she felt sorry that he'd get hurt in prison. Well, the little bastard went around raping all these women and harming these women, 20 women he raped. The crime is supposed to fit the punishment in America, according to the Constitution, is supposed to fit the crime. The punishment fits the crime. And he wasn't punished at all. There's so many people that are going unpunished right now that should be punished, and there's so many of these rich people that are just buying their way out, buying the system off, the courts, the judges, and that they should pay too. That's why we need to clean house with our judges on down. We got so many of these corrupt judges that are taking bribes, payoffs. The whole system is becoming a disgrace, and the cleaning crew is coming in 2022. You watch. We're going to be there, and I need your donations if you want to see real change in America. And we're going to go until this whole system is clean, and we're going to bring back the moral majority, and we're going to make America proud of Congress again, and proud of us as leaders. When I was a kid, we looked up to our president and our leaders. Now it's a joke. People laugh at them, make fun of them. These guys are just buffoons, come on. I grew up as a kid, I thought our leaders were all heroes. I look back at all the great presidents we've had over the years, and these guys were heroes. Now these guys are zeros, and all these sex scandals, and then all this money, this briberies, this fixing the election. Here's another one I'm coming up with too. What we got to do is get rid of electronic ballots. This country survived for 200 years without electronic ballots. Let's go back to paper ballots. And screw this dimpled Chad bull crap, that they couldn't read the dimpled Chad. Well, you make them out of a harder cardstock where they punch a harder hole, and you get people in there to do oversight to watch, like we did our elections for how many frickin' years. And we start counting paper ballots, First job I had, we didn't have a computer. When I did the bookkeeping, I did everything on a paper ledger, everything. I did the books after I got off work. I sat there another 2 hours, had to do paperwork. We did it with ledgers, on a ledger. We could still do paper ballots. There's nothing wrong with it. Just people got lazy. They forgot how to count. We start counting them up by hand. You just tabulate, and then you get another person, three or four other people behind them to check them out, make sure they're doing their job, and you get checkers behind them. You get three or four people to double check the work from them, and you get other checkers. And then you get government checkers to come and you make sure that it's a complete, fair, neutral political process where you get real winners and real losers, where you don't get hackers. There's a 7-year-old girl that showed that she could hack the election things, and she did it. She showed the FBI. 7-year-old kid knew enough about computers and that, and hacked that. Showed how to hack the electrical voting ballots. She knew how to do it. She said she could do it. The government didn't believe her. She proved how to do it and did it. So when you got a little kid that can do it at 7 years old, I'm sure the Russians are having a field day at this, and they just love screwing our country up. Now they got the president eating out of their hand right now, Well, they got this super missile they're bragging about that's nothing can stop it, this super impenetrable missile. Well, our scientists that Trump never believes about anything about global warming or anything. We better get some money to our scientists to build some super bomb or shield to block their super fast ballistic missile that can't be stopped. So we got to build something that'll stop it. Get our scientists start working or whatever, or go get some of our spies in there, like we did in the Cold War era, and steal their technology like they've been doing to us for years. They steal everything, So I guess we got to go back to our old cloak and dagger days if we have to go a little bit backwards in our thoughts. That we got to do things that worked in America. Think back to where we knew it worked. If it worked, we got to use it. If it don't work, then we got to get rid of it. That's the first rule of science, And the science is a technique used to develop new or improved models of nature. If you don't know that, that's the actual, that's what science means. That's your science lesson for today, class. So I'm going to tell you again. I'm Michael J. Steele, United States candidate for North Dakota, part of the cleaning crew. Turning this state blue in 2022. I need your votes. This ain't no joke. This is a battle cry. We need your help right now. I'm fighting a huge Republican machine here. They've got so much money, they don't even know what to do with it all. I'm doing this on a grassroots level. I need your donations now. The actions now. I've been campaigning now for about 3-4 months. I need all the input I can get. I need your help. I need to tell your friends, vote for Michael J. Steele. I wouldn't need none of your money if I knew for sure you'd get out and vote, but I need money right now for my literature. I got to have flyers made. I got to do some television time. I got to get my tour bus on the road. That costs money, getting on a tour bus. I got to tour. I got to do rallies, events. I got to have some dinners, catering. I got to hire staff. All this stuff costs money, but I got to get some money is what I need. And then I can compete with these multimillionaires that are this lopsided Republican one-party state here I live in, which is not fair. That's not the American way. This is not the American way. I live in America. I don't live in an oligarchy, one way state here in North Dakota. I know it's all red, but it's got to come back our way, blue, to keep it fair. It shouldn't be all just red here. And it's just ridiculous. And I know we're getting a lot of people that are moving here from out of state, thank goodness. And we got 7-time national champion NDSU Bison football team here, which is awesome. They won 7 out of 8 NCAA Division I national championships, which is phenomenal. We can be proud of that. So I mean, And that's something we got right here in Fargo, North Dakota, where I grew up in Fargo, if you want to know. And but I've been all throughout the state, and I've seen everything here. But I want to get on my tour bus, and I got to get my phone banks going, just like any other campaign. But the sad part is it costs money to reach people, and I want to get out there and I want to ask the voters, what do you want, North Dakota? What are you lacking? What do you need? What are you upset about? I'm not going to share everything I know right now against the adversary, John Hoeven, right now, because the time is not right. But I know that he's right now, he's not people are not very happy with him right now, the way he's been running the state. I can tell you this, he was going to get tough on crime when he was the governor, and then he wind up saying, well, I want to be senator, and he dumped the state. Nobody sees him. He hides. He does a couple photo ops in front of a cornfield. I don't think he's ever picked up a shovel in his life. Him and the governor, Doug Burgum, you see him every once in a while stand in front of a cornfield. The governor's a multi-billionaire. We got Doug Burgum, Microsoft billionaire guy. We got John Hoeven, multi-millionaire, come from a banking family. What does he know about picking up a shovel and farming or whatever? They're both standing in front of a cornfield. Oh, whoop-de-doo, I can do that all day. What a photo op. They sneak out every now and then, they do a photo op, and once in a while they get on this guy named Chris Berg's one-sided Republican show, this Rush Limbaugh-loving bonehead, and then he sits there and he just tells how wonderful Trump is and sugarcoats the Republican Party, how wonderful and great they are. Poor Eddie Schultz died. We had Eddie Schultz, one of our great North Dakota legends here. He died. We don't have Ed no more. We got Joel Heitkamp. That's about all we got right now. And Heidi, but she lost the election. She's out. We got to get our Democratic people in gear here. But I'm here to start up the cleaning crew. That's my vision. We're going to clean house. That's it. We've had enough. We got to bring back blue in North Dakota in 2022. Republicans been dominating here too long. They've developed an arrogance here that, arrogance kind of starts smelling. The more arrogant you are, the stinkier you get. And people start really smelling your stink, and arrogance is not good, and it's kind of condescending. People don't want to live. We don't like this condescending, our poop don't stink attitude. People don't like that. The real people, the people that get up and do the work, the bus drivers, the people that work in the road crews, the people that get out there and the grit and the grime and build houses, the plumbers, the electricians, the real workers, the sanitary janitor, the janitors, the real people, they don't want to, they don't live that way. They live paycheck to paycheck, these poor people. They work so hard their whole life, and they're one paycheck away from living in the streets or a homeless shelter. It's just sad, and they've been fooled by these people tell them how wonderful and how great everything is, and then if you don't like it, well, you don't like North Dakota, you can leave. No, you shouldn't have to leave. Once you've done your work here and you've done everything right and they change the rules on you in the middle of the game, nah, you can't change the rules on nobody anymore, because just because you're rich and you think you're better than everybody else, well, we're going to start changing the rules on you, and we're going to take your money away from you and make you pay taxes because you're crooks. The only way you got rich is because you got it off the backs of the poor. Most you crooked people out there that are running this state, So we're coming to clean up your crew, and we are the cleaning crew. We're tired of this corruption here. So if you want to support me and clean up this corruption, just vote for Michael J. Steele. I've been here 40 years. I've seen it, folks. I've seen the corruption, and I've seen people's lives destroyed. I've seen good friends of mine have to leave unfairly because no one would help them, and they were just, their lives were totally destroyed, And the people that did stay, they stayed, they went to God, and the church helped them out. There are some good God-fearing people here, and them are the people that are probably going to vote for me and elect me, you know, because there are true Christians here, and they will help anybody out. But they don't live in that world of this I'm better than you and my shit don't stink. They live in a whole different world. They live in this world. It's like Jesus said, you're of this world, but you're not. You're in this world, but not of this world. Follow me. And that's what I believe. We're in this world, but we're not of this world. We follow Christ. And I try to tell my friends, don't leave North Dakota. Go to the Christians, and they'll help you. Go to my Christian friends, you know. When you've been crapped on by these crooked business leaders and these crooked government officials that don't care about you, that are just there collecting a paycheck. That's all they're doing. They don't even do their job. I've seen so many people tell me, I don't even think they're doing their job here. Well, guess what? We're going to make sure you're going to start doing your job. And this is Michael J. Steele signing off. Have a great day.